teams from around the state, from around the country, and actually individuals from around the world as well joining us. As a quick reminder to you, this actual portion will be being recorded. So want to make sure everyone's aware that your presence is your permission to be recorded over the next 45 minutes as we kick off today's Datathon. We'll also be recording tomorrow's presentations, judging, and final events as well for everyone's awareness. Very quickly, a quick thank you to both the Library of Virginia and the Commonwealth's Chief Data Officer that has both collaborated together for this event. Could not have done this without them and all of their support. Very quickly, for those on social media, we do have our own hashtag, which is Virginia Datathon 2020. So please make sure you're looking out and posting on social media under the hashtag Virginia Datathon or VA Datathon 2020. We also want to thank our judges. We'll be hearing from them tomorrow as well, and we'll be engaging with them tomorrow. But I wanted to say a quick thank you to our judges, Chandra Briggman, who's the president and CEO of Activation Capital, David Durr, who's CEO of Forestry Machine Learning, and Vida Williams, who's Chief Diversity Officer and Advanced Analytics Solutions Lead at Singlestone. You'll be hearing more from Vida here shortly. Also want to take a quick thank you to the team that's put this together. It's been a small yet mighty team of individuals. For those who have been involved in the past, you know it takes a lot to coordinate the multiple teams, coordinate the individuals and logistics. And I just wanted to give you all a quick acknowledgement and both introduce you all to some of the individuals behind the scenes today. Lauren Gonzalez is a Communications Outreach and Engagement Manager for the CDO's office. Lauren will be also in the chat, so you'll see that name. Just in case you see that, you'll know that as well. Paul Kozlowski is the IT Director here at the Library of Virginia. Thank you, Paul, for all of your leadership in this space. Mike Ezebek is the Desktop and Applications Support Lead here. Mike has been letting everyone in. Mike will be working in the group and team rooms and has been just a phenomenal asset in moving us forward here today. And finally, Jessie Bailey. She's a student at VCU and part of the CDO's Communication Analyst team. A very big thank you to them. It's been a lot of work getting this from where we were to where we are today, and a lot of hours put in, so thank you to them as well. A few housekeeping tips. Restrooms are located exactly where you think they are. So where you are sitting, somewhere around you is a restroom. In case of emergency, there are also exits to your left, right, or forward or back. If the temperature is too hot or too cold, please don't message us. Just go to your right, left, or walk up and push the up or down on your own thermostat. Finally, for food allergies, we are not requesting any food allergies be sent in to us for snacks and or lunches today, as those things are on your own. But if you have any questions or issues, we're also here to help. And finally, you can use any open data source you want. So feel free to scour the internet for open data sources and feel free to use those as well. All right, awards. There will be awards for first, second, and third place teams. We have been just super fortunate in securing awards and prizes. There will be Amazon gift cards for first, second, and third, and also AWS workspace credits. And we'll go into more of those awards and some of those information later. Finally, in terms of housekeeping, the presentations tomorrow we'll actually hit on tomorrow morning, so I'm not going to take time this morning to hit on those things. We'll talk about the presentations tomorrow. They are going to be pre-recorded today, so they're going to be pre-recorded tomorrow. So you'll have to pre-record your presentations and then submit those to a Dropbox by about 1:45 tomorrow. That way, it will help us with logistics. It will make sure we're all on time. And as a final reminder, we'll go over tomorrow. Presentations are limited to 5 minutes. So please know the National Association of Virtual Hackathons has had a meeting since the debates and has said that at the 5-minute mark, you will be muted. So if your presentation goes above 5 minutes, we will be able to use as a commentator or as the MC today, the mute button beyond 5 minutes. So just make sure that we stay within those 5 minutes to make sure that we have time for everyone's presentations. Finally, I want to do a quick thank you to all of our sponsors. This event would not be possible without the sponsors and the generous support we've received from some of our existing sponsors over the years and some new sponsors as well this year. Our title sponsor and Gigabyte sponsor is Clarion. We have Salesforce, Tableau, Tyler Tech, and CapTech. Our Megabyte sponsors are AWS, NIC Virginia, Carney & Company, and Noblus. And then finally, our SWAM sponsors are Market Muse and TBL Networks. a virtual thank you and applause for those companies who have really driven and leaned in and been a part of this solution and have contributed to helping the Commonwealth and the citizens as well. A few Zoom pointers for everyone. I think Zoom is pretty well known by now based on where we are in our new normal. But one tip I would say is on the top right, you have a speaker view and a gallery view. It may make sense to go into speaker view since there's so many people in the gallery. It may make sense to do that so you can see the speakers and make sure you're connecting with those individuals as they present. Finally, in the chat, if you go down to the bottom of your screen, you'll see a chat. That chat, just so everyone's aware, is not being moderated. So anything you type there will be seen by everyone. So please be aware of that. Don't expect anything beyond professional, but I want to make sure everyone was aware that that chat is not moderated, and anything that you put there will be seen by all. We have our team also in that chat. So as you put things there, they will be able to address those either real time or follow up with you afterwards as well. So in order to stay on schedule, we're going to go ahead and move in to our first introduction today. I have the astute pleasure of introducing someone who the Commonwealth is very fortunate to have. Dr. Sandy Treadway is the librarian here at the Library of Virginia. She has spent over 40 years here at the library and over 10 years in the current role she's in. She's been involved and led significant change from location to introduction to new programs and the additional technology as well. Dr. Treadway and her team oversee 1.9 million print and microfilms and maintain an archive of over 120 million manuscripts. Again, that's 121 million manuscripts that is right here on Broad Street in Richmond, Virginia. A great hidden gem, and thank you to the library as well for all their collaboration. So without further ado, it's my pleasure to introduce the librarian of Virginia at the LVA, Dr. Sandy Treadway. Dr. Treadway, if you want to unmute, you can take the reins.
Can you hear me? Yep. Okay. Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome. On behalf of all of us at the Library of Virginia, we are thrilled to be participating in the 2020 Virtual Virginia Datathon. The library is so proud to partner with Virginia's Chief Data Office and the Chief Data Officer's amazing staff to make this event possible today. We're excited to watch the teams who are participating work their magic over the next 2 days to use data to uncover innovative solutions to help citizens meet the challenges of the COVID-19 pandemic. Promoting the use of data for the public good is the most important thing, in my opinion, that the Chief Data Office does. And the Datathon is a wonderful way to show the power and the impact that that can have. A few years ago, when the library was invited to participate in the Datathon, we jumped at the opportunity and love having it here in the library building and hope next year you'll be back again. The library is all about open data. And in fact, I like to call us the first open data portal in the Commonwealth. The library was founded in 1823 for the purpose of organizing the vast amount of information that Virginia's government had been collecting and creating since its beginning. The records of Virginia's governors, General Assembly, state agencies and commissions, you name it, it's all here. We have some of the oldest and rarest documents in Virginia's history, such as the Statute of Religious Freedom, Virginia's Declaration of Rights, all of Virginia's constitutions from 1776 on. But we also have public and private records that document the experiences of ordinary Virginians, men and women who may never be famous, but whose life stories make up the fabric of our history. Here too, you will find some of the most modern information resources available to the public free of charge. And for more than 20 years, we have been a leader among state archives in making our collections available digitally and through technology. You can check them out on our library's website called Virginia Memory, and you can even help us, if you're interested, transcribe some of those records so that they are much more accessible to the general public. The theme of the Datathon this year is also one of great interest to us. We work closely with public libraries across the Commonwealth and have watched as they have adapted their services to the current health crisis. Libraries are using technology to assist people in ways they never have before, especially in meeting the need for digital resources that parents and teachers need in the education system, and providing library computers and technology so that citizens can connect with telemedicine and other vital services. I can assure you that librarians will be very interested in the many solutions that you come up with over the next 2 days to help their communities meet our current challenge. I want to thank you all for participating in today's Datathon and for being willing to take a deep dive into the data relating to COVID-19. Yeah. Good luck to all the teams, and I can't wait to watch the challenge that the judges will have tomorrow afternoon. Thank you too to all the sponsors. Without you, this would not be possible. And I especially want to shout out to the library's amazing IT team, Paul Castellaspi and Mike Ezepek, who make us look good by all the work that they've been doing for the past several weeks and for the next 2 days. Now it's my great pleasure to turn the virtual podium over to Carlos Rivero, Chief Data Officer of Virginia. Carlos is Virginia's first CDO, appointed by Governor Ralph Northam in 2018, to develop guidelines for data usage, storage, and privacy, and to oversee the coordination of data sharing across the Commonwealth. Carlos served as the Chief Data Officer and Chief Enterprise Architect for the Federal Transit Administration in Washington, D.C. before he joined Governor Northam's team. And it's really been a delight to watch all that he has accomplished in the past 2 years. Thank you, Carlos, for all that you do and for allowing the library to be part of this absolutely amazing event.
Thank you, Sandy. That was such a wonderful introduction. I'm not sure if I truly deserve such a warmth and welcoming, but thank you so much. On the note of expressing gratitude, definitely a big thank you to our friends at the Library of Virginia Foundation for help hosting the Datathon. It has been an absolute pleasure working with them, but also with the Library of Virginia itself. Sandy Treadway, you and your team, Mike Ezepek, Paul Castellaspi, and of course, Kathleen Jordan. We can't forget Kathleen. She has been a phenomenal resource within the Library of Virginia. So absolutely many, many thanks to you guys and your team for all of your support and help and working with us and collaborating with us as we move forward, not just on this particular event, but also with open data in general. I think that is absolutely critical for us to be able to democratize access to our data assets, right? As we talk about leveraging data as a strategic asset within the Commonwealth, being able to provide that same access to our constituents is of paramount importance for us as we look to engage and inform our residents within the Commonwealth of Virginia of all the wonderful things that are happening and some of the things that they need to be aware of as they make their own decisions about how to run their lives and govern their own environments. So having said that, thank you so much. Also, many, many thanks to my team. Lauren Gonzalez, as you guys have started, already got to know quite a bit about Lauren, our communications outreach and engagement manager, but there are some other folks behind the scenes that have definitely been working very, very hard to make this event a success. Definitely Jesse Bailey, our communications analyst, who is also celebrating a birthday today. Happy birthday, Jesse. Many, many well wishes to you. Also Peggy Feldman, she has been our technical project manager and really working behind the scenes to keep all the projects working and moving in the right direction at the right speed so that we can all converge and have success at the very end. And then lastly, Marcus Thornton, he is our Deputy Chief Data Officer. He recently came on board about 3 weeks ago and has been an absolute delight to have on the team. So as you can see, we have a wide variety of different perspectives on our team, but really the most important part about this particular Datathon is all of the perspectives that you, our participants, bring to the table. We have well over 130 individuals participating on 28 different teams, if I'm not mistaken. That's a lot of different perspectives. That's a lot of different experiences that are coming to the table to look at how this COVID-19 pandemic has impacted our Commonwealth, right? We don't have all of the perspectives represented in our little world, in our little team. But with your help, we can bring those perspectives to light. We can gain that awareness of what's really happening out there to all of the different types of communities that we're working with, not just geographic communities, but social communities, economic communities, religious communities. There are different types of communities out there within the Commonwealth that are extremely impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic in different ways. And so being able to get a better understanding and a better awareness of that impact would allow us to create better solutions and mitigate that impact as we move forward and become a more resilient Commonwealth. But again, that all comes back to communication, cooperation, and collaboration amongst all the different teams. As you work together, start to identify some of those solutions that are going to make the most impact. We then take those on and identify which ones are the ones that we want to continue to follow up with to have the most impact within the Commonwealth. So it doesn't end here. This is not, the end all be all, one event and done. We want to see the continuation of your solutions go into fruition and into some type of production capability that we can then implement within the Commonwealth. So having said that, I thank you all very, very much for your participation and look forward to all of your presentations at the very end. And as Dr. Treadway had mentioned, our judges have a very difficult time ahead of them being able to sift and sort and analyze and figure out which ones are the top three. So again, much luck to all of you. Looking forward to your presentations. And I will be popping in some of your breakout rooms just to say hello, check in on you, and see how well you're doing. So again, thank you very much for your support and your participation, and hope you have a great event.
Thank you, Carlos. Thank you, Dr. Treadway. Just a phenomenal collaboration, as both of them have mentioned. This couldn't have been done without the leadership of Dr. Treadway, Carlos, and many individuals on this call. So thank you again for continuing to lead the charge in data and moving us forward, not just from a Commonwealth perspective, but from a citizen services perspective as well. On the polling, just very quickly, we're going to go to the polling that we all just participated in. What inspired you to sign up for the Datathon? The theme and wanting to make a difference, again, that doesn't surprise me at all. The individuals that have been involved in the Datathon in years past have truly been passionate about not just their organizations, not just the community, but the Commonwealth and leading together. So that is a phenomenal answer. The awards and prizes, again, got a single answer. So that someone is being honest and truthful, because the awards and prizes are important. And also just trying to get more engagement from our organizations as well. So again, thank you all. We're going to move into our next poll question very quickly. And this poll question actually is more related to the actual Datathon. So the question is data a technology asset or a business asset? And we'll go into more of that. Why don't you all answer that? I think there are probably many books and many doctoral theses and dissertations that have been defended on this topic, but we'll go more into that in the days ahead. But at this point, I want to say a quick thank you to our Terabyte title sponsor, Clarion. Jake Bittner, Clarion's CEO and a wonderful friend of mine as well, has been a visionary and a leader in Virginia and around the country in the data space. And right now we're going to join Jake on his morning walk as he shares some of the ways that impacting citizen services is paramount at Clarion. Jake?
Hey, good morning. My name is Jake Bittner. I'm the CEO of Clarion. I want to welcome everybody to Virginia's virtual Datathon. We're excited to be here back again, sponsoring the event and attending and helping to organize the event. We get very excited about this event every year because it brings together data enthusiasts from public sector and private sector to help drive Virginia forward, which is exactly what Clarion does. We are a data analytics firm focused completely on helping public sector organizations transform their operations through embracing data-driven decision-making. So it's a very exciting event for us to be at. We're a Virginia-based company based in Reston and also offices in Richmond, hiring in both, I should mention. But as a Virginian, it's a very exciting an opportunity for us to help be involved and see all the progress Virginia has been making, especially over the past few years from a data perspective. whether it's using data to help address the public health crisis, to help Virginia's job seekers find jobs, to help our children, our kids get equity in education. Data has been critical to the way that Virginia has responded. And so I thought today we could take a closer look at some of the progress we've been making. And I thought during these difficult times, one of the best way to do it would be to get outside and take a walk. So come on, let's go. So I thought I'd start with one of the most powerful examples. Back in 2017, a few years back, Clarion and Virginia partnered to create the framework for addiction analysis and community transformation. Long name, but the abbreviation is FAACT, or FACT. And FACT is a data analytics framework to address the opioid crisis. So really the problem there was that you have a challenge in the communities and many different viewpoints, many different pieces to the puzzle, from healthcare to social services to law enforcement to other community organizations that all had a different piece of the puzzle, different types of data they would be able to bring to the table. So the idea was to enable the community responders, people who are actually in the community. So when someone in the community would come to someplace like a community service board, like the one I'm standing in front of here, to get help with opioids, they'd be able to have the complete picture of that person's situation, so they can make proper decisions about programming and how to help that person, and then to be able to look further in the community to figure out what are all the different dynamics that are happening within the community related to opioids. It's been a tremendous success, and it's used by people in the community. It continues to expand today, and it's used by people, community responders, as I mentioned, social service, law enforcement, healthcare workers, medical professionals, in places such as these CSBs, to make sure we help fight the opioid crisis in the most intelligent way we possibly can. Let's go see the next one. Just like data can help us with a public health crisis, it can help us fight economic challenges as well. You may have seen that earlier this summer we launched the Virginia CareerWorks referral portal and dashboards, a set of analytics to help people find new job opportunities within the Commonwealth. You know, it can be challenging, particularly during COVID. We found that very quickly we can experience an economic downturn, and people were unable to even come into the CareerWorks centers, such as this one behind me. But because we had the referral portal, they were able to go online and get similar services from there. The data was absolutely critical to helping us helping us get our feet back underneath us as we respond to this crisis and help the Virginians get back to work. We're very proud to be involved with this program. Another critical area for use of data analytics in the Commonwealth is supporting our kids in their education. It's back to school time, but schools like this one behind me are empty. Things are different now. We're very happy to be partnering with the Commonwealth and the Virginia Department of Education to build an analytics system to help them make critical decisions as we get our kids back to school, to ensure equity in education for all Virginians. So as you can see, the impact of data in Virginia has been significant. It's been helpful to all of our constituents and our residents. It's exciting, the activities that are happening, and I think the biggest thing is that Virginia's now prepared to deal with things with data and analytics. No better example than with COVID-19. When that hit us so quickly earlier this year, there was really no time to build a brand new system from scratch. So what do? We quickly repurposed the FACT system, the legal framework for agencies to share data, the technical framework for sharing data, and within days we're able to deliver critical analytics to the policymakers, the decision makers, to help keep Virginians safe. It's a great example of how Virginia is leading the way, which brings us to today and the opportunity for you to bring your ideas to the table. I want to thank Carlos for organizing, as well as the Library of Virginia for organizing. Thank you for your time and your energy, and good luck. Stay safe.
Thank you, Jake. And thank you again to our Terabyte title sponsor, Clarion. Okay, as we move forward now, we'd like to also introduce Vida Williams, who will be our morning speaker. After Vida's presentation today, she's been gracious enough to do a Q&A. So as you have questions for Vida during her presentation, please put them over in the chat. We'll select a few of those, or as many as we can, and get those to Vida in order for her to answer after her short remarks. Vida is the Chief Diversity Officer and Advanced Analytics Solutions Lead at Singlestone. She's been engaged in data around the Commonwealth. She's actually the first innovator in residence at VCU's Da Vinci Center. She's also very engaged in the community through her work on Code VA, the Podium, and the Virginia Union University Center for Undergraduate Research. Vida is going to actually address the why behind what we're doing today and highlight the importance of the intersection between data and the community. It's my extreme pleasure to introduce to you Vida Williams. Vida, if you want to unmute, and thanks for your time this morning.
I am so excited to be here. I am honored and thankful to Carlos and Lauren who have invited me, because I think for my 20 plus years in data, this is probably the most relevant and exciting time to be part of the community and the industry of data. I can think of no more relevant time for us to have a combined effort to kind of reimagine how data can positively impact ourselves, our community, and our neighbors. So I'm just thankful to be here today. And I'm thankful that so many teams and such a high caliber of teams decided to participate. That also, because I count colleagues, personal colleagues among many of the participants today, signals I think a different era, if you will, of being able to collaborate, to being able to engage. So thank you so much for having me. And I promise you, I will not speak very long, because I know, being a geek myself, I'd rather just go ahead and start looking at the data. So with that being said, I thought it'd be interesting to kind of, or what this enabled me to do is kind of reflect back on my own career. I came into data about 20 plus years ago, really drawn to the burgeoning transformative industry. I was compelled by data as a medium for storytelling. I was a history and English major. I was not an IT major at Duke University, and I felt that data was a new and robust way to actually tell the individual and the collective story of a people. And my first project in this world was a migration and transformation of the Environmental Protection Agency data. I mean, that was big data before we had a term big data. And we were trying to evolve this data to make it more accessible to more people. In that project, I was surrounded by brilliant environmental experts, as well as technologists of old. I was inspired by the way that we were terraforming a virtual space with the evolving landscape of actual ecology. I mean, this was just an amazing, amazing opportunity for a 20-something to really get their hands dirty and begin to understand what the eventual power of the industry of data would be able to wield for good or not, depending upon what we chose to do with it. And so I just remember sitting in my little cubicle in Raleigh, North Carolina, where we didn't have as many data rules at the time. So I was completely simulating the environmental factors affecting my own family in the 1960s and 70s in Toms River, New Jersey. And those factors ultimately contributed to a brain tumor in one of my beloved uncles by the 1990s. It's a book now that you can go and read about how toxic the environment of Toms River was in the 60s and 70s. But for me personally, that galvanized my own mission to ensure that we are using data in the protection of the environment and the people that live within it. And so bringing us up to today, my families, my neighbors, my communities, data is captured every day in mind-boggling volumes. Much more of it, however, sits in states of darkness, which are stories yet to be told, than we have retrieved and illuminated. We do know, as technologists, as data scientists, as data geeks even, that intuitively we are able to hear those collective voices within those volumes. And if we can pull them, then we can hear the stories, we can understand themes and patterns within their collected experiences, and then we can actually help find resolutions and, dare I say, innovations to help us move through crises, but also into a world that is safe and harmonious for all of us. And that's my poetic way of saying this is our job as data scientists. Mathematics, algorithms, programming languages, they are our universal languages of this world. We all understand them. Even as we labor to tutor our third grader through this new co-educating phenomenon that we've got going on, and my heart and soul goes out to those of you who still have elementary schoolers and teachers who are dealing with parents who are anxious and overzealous. Through all of that, we all know that that math problem has worked similarly here and everywhere else around the world to get the same result. This is the language of us all. And I think it is easy, however, by the time we get 20 plus years, 10 plus years, 5 plus years into the industry, that we forget we're actually dealing with the lives of people reduced to numbers and information. And those same people, however, entrusted us with the ability to understand them with the grand assumption that we're meaning to help them. And I believe that Virginia's Datathon this year illuminates that mission. It is our challenge to, as we uncover this, and here's the thing, I know from looking through some of the data myself, just because I'm compelled, that we should be prepared to weep at the volume of stories that we will uncover as we begin to truly calculate the impact of COVID in our neighbors, on our communities, on ourselves. Because ultimately, that's our charge today. We are here to listen deeply to the stories that we are told in data as we wrangle it. And I challenge you to wrangle it with zero tolerance for bias. We are here to find themes and patterns in these stories with fresh eyes, unencumbered by what you think you already know. Spoiler alert, melanin content is actually not the factor that spreads COVID, which means we must look past that to what happens in the collective stories that made those communities more vulnerable. And lastly, we must take a Hippocratic oath to solution for these communities with an intentional measure to do no further harm. To take it a step further, we must realize that we are part of a matrix of virtual warriors seeking to protect us, our families, and our communities from pestilence and renewed and regenerated communities. Because in this era, that's who we are. We are the griots of old who explain what has already been, how it informs and affects our present state, and provide the intelligence on how we might do and be better in our near future. I am so honored to be part of this mission, and I will take it as my duty to share and collaborate with you, my colleague community, in this monumental effort. And as I promised, I did that whole thing in less than 10 minutes. So I am happy to be here. I am excited by the mission that we share, and I promise to be available over the next couple days as we seek new ways, new solutions, and new innovations against this disease. Thank you, Carlos, for having me.
Vida, thank you so much for that truly personal and poetic thought around data, its impact to you, and your charge for these individuals. I think that everyone has gotten something from those words that you shared, and I can't thank you enough for putting that out there for us, leading us in this space, and giving us a vision as we move forward of how we can address the next couple of days in a very positive manner across the Commonwealth. So thank you, Vida. So couple quick questions, Vida. First question here is, what is the one bit of advice you would give to data scientists, whether just budding high school students that we have on the call today, through senior directors in leadership, not seniors, by the way, but senior directors in leadership, as they address data science challenges?
Alex, I love the question from the point of view of the high schooler because I get that a lot, and then I'll address it as our senior leaders in data. When high schoolers and college youth come and say, hey, your job is so awesome, I want to do your job. How can I do your job? And then they're so excited to give me the litany of math classes they're taking and they're majoring in computer science. And, my biggest recommendation to them is always augment those very rational subjects with a social science. Data ultimately has to be contextualized. If it is not contextualized into the actual experience from which it is sourced, you lose the wisdom of it and you cannot actually analyze it. And so I think we do a disservice at the high school and college level when we separate those two things. The practice of data is truly multidisciplinary and it should be evoked as such, and it should be taught in that way. Now, from our perspective of our senior leaders, I would challenge them to be more intentional about how much dark data is actually still existing in our infrastructure. There are tons of people who are not being benefited by the fact that we have harvested so much data because we're driving based on business profitability factors only. And I think that there should begin to be some deep analysis in the data that is collected to see how we might do product service better, both for the people that are supporting us and trusting us with their data, but also because we have big questions out on the horizon that we don't know the answers to. And yet people are providing their information so that we can glean those responses. So that's my biggest challenge right now, I think, across the board, to those that we support, corporations, entities, et cetera, to do a little bit better with elucidating the data that we are collecting.
Thank you, Vida. And again, I cannot echo that enough that as I've had the honor of being on some higher education panels in the data space,
Yes.
integrating data into every discipline. It is not a single discipline upon its own, but from music majors to science, liberal arts, across all disciplines, data plays a key role and can play an even more critical role as you integrate data into the education cycle. So thank you. Let's talk about data sharing and some of your experiences. What do you think the challenges are, whether they be perception or reality, in some of the sharing of data and some of the challenges both from the private sector and potentially public sector that we are facing today?
Well, I'm gonna go back to the question that you asked earlier, is data a business asset or is it a technology asset? And I'm gonna go with Tom Allison and Nazar Sharif, who put in the chat that it's a public asset. I think our ability to evolve the data so that, well, let me do it in a couple ways. The first thing that data practitioners, I think, should take ownership for is creating a new language around data that is accessible and understandable by the citizenry. I think for too long, our industry has been magic of alchemists who combine a whole bunch of stuff and then we don't tell people how we do it. We know when we sit down at our desks and our computers that what we're doing is not making magic. It might be fun to those of us who like solving massive logic problems, but it is not magic. And the things that we're doing with the data, the innovations that we're coming up with, man, we talk about it in regular language every day. There is a way for us to demystify the practice of data for our communities and our neighbors. I challenge myself every day to have regular conversations about the job that I have, because I think it is my responsibility, if they're going to entrust in me, with my colleagues, so much of their private information. So if we're to move data to the place where it is a public asset, with that, the practitioners of data must figure out how to communicate the work that we do in such a way that everybody can understand it. There was a time electricity was magic, and now people will try to rewire their houses. That's very dangerous, by the way. but they will at minimum replace a light bulb. That didn't happen before. That's where I believe we should probably get our communities.
Thank you, Vida. I think the other challenge as well is the interest to boil the ocean versus
Oh, yeah.
accepting an MVP.
Oh, yeah.
As we look across agencies and organizations, we want it all, and we're
Yep.
not willing to start something with something small and prove value. We will get stuck in analysis paralysis and not move forward because we
Yep.
want to do everything for all people. And I think that continues to be a challenge for us. And I think that your comments as well resonate
Totally agree.
with individuals on these calls as well. And finally, I won't take up too much more of your time, and I know you'll be around, and thank you again for all of that. What is one final bit of advice you would have for these individuals beyond the Datathon, right? So we come to the Datathon, we come together across organizations, we put these solutions together, and then many times individuals on teams go their separate ways. What is one bit of advice you would have for the individuals on the teams and just staying engaged in the data space?
First, just in terms of doing the work together, I would pay more attention to the data that you're wrangling than being turned on by the tech that you're working in. I mean, just change your focus for just 2 days. Pay more attention to the actual data you're wrangling instead of being turned on by the tech that you're using. The tech you're using is awesome, but the data that you're wrangling is important. If that is the perception that we're working in, again, I will go back to you're going to find out some things about yourself and your neighbors and your community in that data with the people that you're working with that are going to knit you together to a common goal. And then you'll be compelled to continue to work together to resolve this even beyond these 2 days. Because what I know for certain, based on all of the things that I have read coming out of the CDO's office, is that we mean this in the state of Virginia. We mean to make a difference with this Datathon. We mean to have quality solutions coming out of this. In order to get there, you have to be compelled by the stories that you're hearing. You have to be compelled by the data that you're wrangling so that you will continue to want to carry on that mission over the next 2 days and then beyond. And then tech kicks in. We have so many platforms today, from Kaggle to data.world to just other type of remote capable collaboration tools that will enable us to continue the work. I would make sure that over the next 2 days, you're instantiating a way to continue the collaboration as a team. Make sure that when you leave here tomorrow, after awards are given, that your team has already decided how they're going to continue doing this work. I know as a judge, unfortunately or fortunately, I'm biased in a way that says that I see a leg on this particular project and that you guys are compelled to do it. Because this is important to us as a community, as a state, but definitely as a nation, that we have some solutions coming out of here. So that's a long-winded answer, Alex, I'm sorry, but I truly think that that's how we're gonna be able to continue the great mission that we're starting here today.
Vida, no apologies necessary. Thank you again for just your time, your commitment, and your passion in this space. It is very evident to everyone on the call today. I'm sure evident to your clients and your coworkers. And we can't thank you enough for being a part of this and for spending some time with us today, and even playing a more important role tomorrow as we move forward as well. So thank you, Vida, for everything. Look forward to continuing our partnership with you as well. And let's give Vida a final round of applause for all of her efforts. Thank you.
And I can hear it. I can hear it. Like it's in the ether.
That, everyone coming off just to look at that. Very nice. All right. So as Vida mentioned, we are going to talk about the last poll for 1 second. Is data technology, and is it a technology asset or a business asset? And again, I think as the results will show, we probably have more business folks than technology folks in the room, but it is a age-old question. I think Vida and individuals in the chat nailed it. I think it is both. It is more than this. While there is ownership and we all should have ownership in this space. We are only as good as the collective that we bring together every single day. IT can't do it alone, business can't do it alone, and for the agencies that are successful in the Commonwealth, it is traditionally where IT and business come together in a we and put the I's and my's aside. So I think that is the key, as well as we look at data. All right, so you all have been sitting for quite some time now. I'm going to ask everyone, if you were here last year, you were part of this, you heard this as well, but I think it's great to get up a little bit. No need to come off video, please don't. But if we're going to do a quick little icebreaker here, if everyone could stand up at their desks or wherever they are, if you could stand up where you are, shake out your arms and legs. This will be a low impact activity. If you're like me, at this point, your Fitbit is saying something's wrong, you're moving, you're not sitting in front of a Zoom and there's something wrong with you. But go ahead and stand up. And I want you to hold the desk or your chair with your left hand. And I want you to now rotate your right leg clockwise. And again, for those of you who were here last year, you were part of this, but I think it's applicable today more than ever. So as you're turning your right leg clockwise, I want you to think about what you believe is stronger, your leg or your finger. There's no poll that will come up, but I believe that the vast majority of individuals will say that their leg, the largest bones in their body, the strongest muscles in their body, are much stronger than their finger. So as you're rotating your right leg to the right, that's all there is to this. I just want to see everyone do that. No, I'm joking. There's more to this than that. Everyone's like, what is going on here? What I want you to do now is to draw a 6 in the air with your right hand. Keep rotating your right leg to the right, clockwise, and then draw a 6 with your right hand in the air. I am sensing some frustration out there. I'm seeing a few people trying it. I'm seeing people try over and stop. Those that aren't on video, I can see the frustration on your foreheads. So what is happening here? Your strongest muscle, your strongest item in your body is being absolutely changed by a single motion with a single finger in your right hand. So how does this apply to data? It doesn't at all. No, I'm totally kidding. It does. So what we have been doing over the vast number of years is our right leg. We have been moving in what we think is the art of the possible, the art of what we can do. And all it takes is one small change to make a significant impact, not only on our organizations, but on the citizens as well. So your right leg is business as usual. And what we're going to do today is take our right hand and draw and change what we believe business as usual has been. So that's my charter to you as well. Don't accept what you believe to be true. Don't accept what you've learned in school. Use those things to push the barrier, to move beyond your perception and bring data together in a way that it's never been brought together for the benefit not only of you, your organization, the Commonwealth, and its citizens as well. So thanks a lot for playing along with that quick icebreaker. You all can sit back down now. Hopefully you all got a few steps in for that. You may not be getting as many steps as usual as we're in this virtual datathon. But I do actually encourage you to do one thing today. Take some breaks. We're going to go into team rooms here in a second. We'll explain that concept in a second. But this will be some great time for you all to really dive in. But I also want to make sure you're taking time for yourself. As we get into this new normal, taking care of ourselves is more important now than ever. And I am just as guilty of sitting in Zoom meetings and just literally clicking from meeting to meeting, going from one meeting to the next, merely clicking the button to close one window and open another. And what I'm charging you all to do as well is to take some time today for yourselves. Take breaks, get outside a little bit, make sure you're taking some time and giving your brain some time to recharge and refresh as well. So with that being said, again, my name is Alex D. It's an honor to be with you all today and over the next couple of days. I'll be coming into team rooms to check in on everybody as well. We'll share more information over the coming hours and next day about some of the preparation tips for tomorrow, some of our tips and tricks on the final presentation. But right now we want to get you all into the team rooms to start your work. So what will be happening over the next 5 or 10 minutes is you will start seeing your team rooms pop up on your Zoom. There'll be an invitation to join your room. Before you go anywhere, I want to point out a couple things. Once you join your room, you'll have to click the join button to join your room. Once there, all of your chat in the chat area will only be for the people in your room. So please know that. So if you need to chat with us, you can come back out to the main room. You can raise your hand. We'll be checking in on individuals as well throughout. But please know that once you're in your team room, all the chat will be specific to your team room. If you do need to come back out, you can actually push the button on the bottom right around your team room. But please make sure there are two buttons. One says leave meeting and one says leave room. Feel free to hit the leave room button. If you hit the leave meeting button, of course, you'll be removed from the Zoom. You'll have to rejoin. But once you leave your meeting room, you can go back and forth from the main room back into your meeting room at your pleasure. Finally, a couple other things within this. We are not going to be recording your team sessions. So your team sessions are all on your own. We will be having some check-ins. We will be coming back together at the end of the day today to get some feedback and to see how teams are doing. We'll also come back into this main room at the tomorrow morning. Please note it is a different Zoom link. So you have two invitations, one for yesterday and one for today and one for tomorrow. So please know that there'll be a different link, and we'll be coming back into this main room to start our efforts tomorrow as well. All right, let me, without further ado, share that right now, Mike Ezebek will be starting to move you into your team.